Welcome. You have reached State of Boxing, episode 2 with Emperiol Sports. This is 2/29/2024. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So this week, not too much is going on. We went past last week. So we had a few things that took place last week with Carissa Shields. She fought in the MMA and she won a decision in the MMA. And just to see her be athletic enough to fight in the MMA is courageous for her. She was put on her back a few times, survived. She was getting her strikes off. Of course, she doesn't have like what you would call like knockout power, like Amanda Nunes and stuff like that, or Cyborg stuff, people like that. But she can strike. However, of course, the deeper she get into MMA, of course, the easiest thing to do to her is gonna get her on the ground and pound, or try to get her in some type of submission hold. So, but just the fact of her being an active boxer and jumping over in MMA, getting in the ring and risking the chance of getting injured or getting put on the ground, that's a salute to her, because no active male boxer has elected to do that and go over to MMA and fight in the octagon. So salute to her. Just shows her athletic ability and her heart. And she's about trying to get combat sports, trying to get the money any way possible. So she should have like endorsements and everything, like getting behind her, pushing her. Overall, people don't like her attitude sometimes. That her taking shots at men, saying that she could beat men and all that type stuff. Yeah, I'm not with that either. She need to stay away from that, because it's a lose-lose situation if any real male boxer got in there and fight with her. It's a lose-lose. He beat her. He not gonna get no points for that. They're gonna say you beat a woman, and if somehow she was able to outbox him, that's a lose also. So it's a lose-lose. So I think she should stay away from that. Just focus on her sport, with MMA and boxing, and go from there. Also, over the weekend, you had uh, Juto, Nakatani won on Saturday. Um, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Edgar Berlanga. Now he beat McCrory on Saturday, February 24th, and he struggled a little bit, but he did get him out of there as long as he won. Of course, after the fight, he called out Canelo. Now that's a great segue to Canelo is supposed to be signing a new deal with the Zone, and then part of that new deal is supposed to be Edgar Berlanga and Jaime Munguia. And with Edgar Berlanga just winning on last Saturday, it's a setup. Does Edgar Berlanga deserve a fight with Canelo? No, we all want to see Canelo fight David Benavidez. And that becomes a whole nother thing, because now it's reports coming out that PBC couldn't guarantee Canelo the money that he was looking for to fight the fights, because he's supposed to have a 3-fight deal with PBC. He only had one with Charlo. I think the problem that they're saying, it's all rumors, because we're not in on these deals and we don't have the actual factual contract. So but we're just speculating the rumors and stuff that you hear that's on the internet and everything. But it's rumored that they can't guarantee the money, and they're not getting their ROI on what they're putting into Canelo. So they might be giving Canelo a guaranteed 30 to 50 million, somewhere in that range, and the return is not coming back because the numbers is not. They might fill up seats in the arena maybe, but people ain't buying the pay-per-views, and a lot of that's because who you fighting them against. You have to pit him against people want who they want to see him fight. You know, after what Jamel Charlo did, it was nobody not trying to see him fight his brother Jamal. And Jamal's been out of boxing the length of time he's been out of boxing. It doesn't seem like he's in no type of true professional shape to fight Canelo. So whether he was dealing with personal or mental issues, don't nobody want to see that. So allegedly, the 3-fight deal was for Jamal Charlo, and then the end, Earl Spence. And all 3 fighters that were under the weight class of super middleweight. I think that's disgusting, especially when David Benavidez is right in that weight class. And of course, with the Earl Spence situation, that they were banking on Earl steamrolling Terrence, but when he got torpedoed by Terrence Crawford, it took that off the map. And then Crawford tried to fill that void, like, yeah, I'll fight him and everything like that. But, instantly Canelo, said, Bud is too small. But if you're saying Bud is too small because he's fighting for 147, then why was you in the talk sort of, to fight Earl Spence? So that kind of didn't make no sense. But we don't know if this is true. It's just all speculation. So like I said in my last video, episode 1, I said Bud should, if he was really serious about going in that weight class, he should go and fight one of the lower tier guys. One of the lower tier guys I mentioned was Edgar Berlanga, that he could go in there and fight, and that tell people he's serious. Now that Edgar Berlanga looking like he gonna fight Canelo, Bud could go in there and fight Boo Boo Andrade, and because he's in that weight class, so it's not like one of the top people in that weight class, but it is an intro fight in that weight class if he was serious, to show the people that he really could fight in that weight class. So Canelo, of course, everybody's calling him a duck. Some of his fan base is turning on him because they're saying, here, David Benavidez is right here in this division, and you're not trying to fight him. He earned his way. He is the mandatory. So it was alleged, well, not alleged, and he could be lying, but Benavidez Sr. came out and said that Canelo's team offered Benavidez a flat fee, nothing more, nothing less, of $5 million. They accepted, and then Canelo's team, they never heard back from him. So who knows what's the truth of that? And we only hearing one side. So that's crazy. So Benavidez put out there that he's going to move up and fight somebody in the light heavyweight division and not stick around and wait for Canelo. So it's unfortunate, man, but that's the state of boxing. That's why boxing is weak. That's why boxing, people watch streams when the fights come on, because people are tired of not. It was a time when I was a little younger. We were every like known fight, we would have fight parties and everything, and didn't mind paying for the pay-per-view. But now they're just doing whatever, giving us fights for whatever. And so when majority of people are accustomed to just streaming it because they're not getting the fights and they're just not paying for any other thing, then what happens is when the big fights do come, they're just accustomed to streaming it, so they just go on to stream it. Fighters need to get down, get down. The money might not be there. The money's not necessarily there right now to pay them the money that they're looking for, because the way the fans have geared to just stream it. And so they're going to have to come off their horse with the money piece. Like, oh, we want this amount of money and that amount of money. Because the investors is like, okay, if we pay you this, are we going to get a return on our investment? And a lot of times they're not. They're not getting a return on their investment. So I get it and I understand it. So yeah, the Canelo situation is unfortunate. So what else has happened in boxing? You also have Jermell Charlo has been stripped from the remaining of his belts. And so now his belts, his undisputed status, all his belts is out there. Now it's a great intro for Bud to go up in 154 and go to try to dominate another division. But I think with Bud being on the tail end of his career, I think he would rather had just fought Jermell if he was undisputed. That way he get all the belts at once versus now with all the belts being split. I mean, he had to fight, do it, go through the song and dance of fighting one by one to try to build himself to attain all of the belts. So I don't know if he want to, do that. However, it will keep him active, and it will give him a goal to go accomplish. Like the goal is to now become undisputed again in a third division versus. But he wants the big money fights. I don't know if there's any big money fights out there. If he's not gonna fight Canelo, who else is out there to fight for a big money fight? So um, I think Bud's option is to go into the junior welterweight division, clean that division up, and like I mentioned before in my last video, Erickson Lubin would be a great intro to the junior welterweight. That'd be a great intro fight for him to show people he mean business in that division, and then go on to try to clean up and get those belts. Then, or if he go on the Canelo route, fight somebody in the super middleweight division and show people, oh, Bud, especially if he does somebody in that division, that will spark the interest for the Bud versus Canelo if he do something like that. But I don't know about him just saying off the rip he's going to just fight Canelo, and then it's especially with Canelo saying he doesn't win. It's no game for him beating Bud. So then what's up with Jermell? We all used to look at Jermell as a dog before that Canelo fight, but it looks like he potentially could be going to the middleweight division where he could become 2-time undisputed and go in that division and wreak some havoc and revise his career after Canelo. But he probably made some decent money off of the Canelo fight, and he's just chilling. And I think he got in a little law trouble a couple months ago, so he got to clean that up as well. Next week we got AJ versus Ngannou. It's on a Friday, so keep that in mind. March 8th, 2024. It's on a Friday because of course they fighting in Saudi Arabia, so the timing is different. So it is next Friday. Don't get your times mixed up. So that'll be an interesting fight. It ain't too much other in the heavyweight division other than that. Trying to think of anything else. You got the Devin Haney and versus Ryan Garcia. They had their first presser on 2/28, 2024. Well, they doing anything they can to try to promote the fight, to try to push the fight, to try to create interest for the fight. It's just a matter of what people jump in. The fight is going to be what it is. Most boxing fans will tune in. I don't know if they can create it anymore. Two names, two young fighters. I don't know if they could create any more buzz for it than what it already is. For either you're going to tune in and watch it or you're not at this point. Of course, I think they did. I don't know if I mentioned this in episode 1 that Tank versus. I think they officially announced in June Tank versus Frank Martin. It's like an OL fight. Well, I think for anything to make sense, Tank has to fight Frank Martin. That's his intro fight after getting his legal stuff and all that cleared up. His intro fight to get back out there. And then if he's serious, if he fights Frank Martin in June, he could potentially still fight 3 fights this year. If I was him, to stay focused, fight Frank Martin in June. If he doesn't attain any real injuries, fight somebody else in September. if he doesn't fight, attain any true injuries, fight somebody else in the end of the year, um, to get back on track with his career or whatever. He still could fight 3 fights: June, September, and then December to end the year out. He can do it, if he that focused and serious about his career, but he got to get back in fighting shape. So fighting Frank Martin is just an oh well fight. I have no confidence in Frank Martin. It's anything that he's done. He was uh, didn't fight Shakur, and so a lot of us lost whatever positive things we was given to Frank Martin before that. Him not taking that Shakur fight when he should have, because nobody really knows him. It was just like whatever. So we'll go from there. Who else I could think of right now? Am I missing anybody that's out there? I'm looking at the divisions coming up. So this week, who we have fighting this weekend? No real true names that you know. Of course, you got regular people who fight. So let's just go over the names. Might be not known to us, but it could be known to you. Abash Baru versus Sam Eggington. Adabet Komatov versus Raymond Ford. That's on March 2nd, this Saturday, for the vacant WBA welterweight world title. Then on Saturday also, we got Amanda Serrano versus Nina Minky for the IBF, WBO, WBA featherweight titles. And that's it for the schedule. Not too much going on in boxing. Just basically news and that's covering it. Thanks for taking the time to hear State of Boxing with Emperiol Sports. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your comments what you think. Tune in next week for episode 3. Till next time.